Welcome back to It Was Never a Phase Cards. My name is TJ, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some of my bigger successes when it comes to picking up Pokemon cards. Now we're going to be talking about singles and sealed product, and then, I don't know, maybe tomorrow or later in the week, I'll show you my biggest flops, my biggest stuff I've lost money on, and stuff like that. But for today's video, we're going to be focusing on the successes. And we're going to start off right here. I'll try and show receipts where as much as possible where I can. And we're going to start off with this Gyarados. This is a Mega Gyarados from Breakpoint, number 115 in a PSA 10. Now, this is a card that I just bought for my PC just to have. It's in the display case over here, because Gyarados is one of my favorite Pokemon. At the time, it was just an affordable PSA 10. I do like, obviously, Shiny Gyarados and, Mega as well. But I like the text that comes across the screen. You can see I bought this for $155 on eBay. And it's just one, like, I'm not selling it. Wasn't looking to sell it. Wasn't looking to flip it or make money. But recently, this card has shot up quite a bit compared to what I bought it at. You can see, obviously, too, that this was in March, at the end of March of this year, so just a few months ago. And now we're seeing, some sales as high as $940, $800, $920, $940, $1,000 crossed out. And I think there's been a few other sales that have fluctuated a bit above and a bit below those numbers. So starting off the bat, that was one that's just pure coincidence, right? Pure, just, it happens, right? Sometimes you just buy a card, it just goes up, and that's just something that happens in the hobby. So it wasn't a play or anything like that. It's just a happenstance of something that I bought that I'm not selling. And it's cool to see it go up in value. I'm not looking to sell it. I'm just going to keep holding on to it because I like it. And yeah, I don't think currently I would pay this much for it. So it is nice that I picked it up at an affordable price. And then there's the Giratina. This is the Giratina alternate art. I don't know how small this text is right here, but you can see I paid $600, I think, with tax and everything. It ended up being $656. Now, this was over a year ago. This was last April. Now, this was, you can see here's the most recent sales right here. Most recent sale, July 6th, 2025, $1,500. You can see, $1,500 down here and $1,500 down here as well as this $1,000 sale. I'm not sure. Maybe this wasn't an English copy. It's hard to see. Maybe it's German, coming from Germany. But anyways, this was a card that I had thought was going to go up in value when I was purchasing it. Once again, it's not a flip. This is one that's just in my PC. It's in my case over here, right over here. And it was just one that I saw was getting a lot of attention. I was a strong believer in Lost Origin, which you are going to see Lost Origin pop up on this list again. But here we're looking at price charting. And let's go back for a second. This was April 8th. So back here, right when we were starting to see, this was coming into the alt art boom. Stuff was already moving, but it was early April. So that's why this price looks a little off, because as things were starting to move in between March and April right here. And it was one of the lower listed ones on eBay at the time in a PSA 10. And I just I like the artwork and the art style. And I just wanted to have it for my collection. It was just a purchase. Once again, not flipping it, not selling it. And it's just one that has done well for me. And it is one that I knew was going to go up in value. I didn't necessarily expect it to be having risen quite so much, at $1,500 right now. But, that's one of my better plays as far as like just single speculation goes in PSA 10s. That does bode well for me. I'm very happy with that, right? Because this is another card that, currently with my current budget, maybe I wouldn't be wanting to pay $1,500 for this card in a 10 in the current climate. And back here in January, the beginning of this year, it was at 1,600. I remember, I think there were definitely some sales higher than that at the time. I think maybe even 1,800. But yeah, it did dip down into April. Now it's climbing back up again, around $1,500. Currently what we're seeing. So even here at this low point where it had dipped in April, I had still pretty much doubled my money. So that's been making me feel good. Once again, it's not a card I'm actively looking to sell or anything like that, but it is one that I saw starting to rise in value. And it was just a pickup. So I did time that one fairly good. Obviously, some of these are benefiting from, a year plus of time, depending on the card. Now this one is not right here. This is the Charizard CD promo. I picked this up in Japan. This was back in October. Another one that you'll see in my case over here. This was just, once again, this is just a PC card that I told myself I couldn't leave Japan unless I had this card. I loved the artwork. This was the artwork on Pokemon Red growing up, which I did not own. I was Pokemon Blue. But still, nevertheless, I told myself I could not leave the country, come back home until I had this card in my possession. And it didn't have to be a PSA 10. It could have been a clean copy that I was optimistic would grade a 10 or at worst case a 9. But I did find a PSA 10 of this, and it was in October, which was right here. You can see the price was around $800. And I remember, I think with the conversion, I think it was like high sevens, like 770, 780 USD. This was a cash sale at a store in Akihabara. And once again, it wasn't necessarily about the price. This was just one that I just wanted, and I wanted one in good condition. And recently vintage has been starting to tick up. You can see recently up to around $1,200 in a PSA 10 for this card. So this is another one that just, having a $400 gain, it does make me feel really good, because this is one that for sure, even at $1,200, I would pay that or more for if that was the market rate and I had to have it. This is one where I would pay those prices. So this is just one that worked out rather well when it comes to just a nice timely pickup on a single. Now let's talk about some sealed stuff, because those are there's been a lot of singles obviously that have been profitable on, but those were the bigger ones, with some more recently like the Gyarados, and then some and actually this was fairly recent, I feel like, kind of. I don't know, we're getting close to this being a year out, but a little bit of time can do real well for cards, as well as sealed, which is what you're going to see here. So Lost Origin, if you go back on my channel to back when I was pretty much first posting videos, I started talking about Lost Origin when it was still in stock on the Pokemon Center. And, that's where I was getting bullish about the Giratina. I hadn't purchased the Giratina yet. Currently TCG Player only goes back a year on its pricing. Price charting does go back further. But just to show, even in the past year, like where Lost Origin has been, it's like $500 a box right now. It has come down a little bit, in the past month, down around 5%, but up 151% on the year. And this was just, I picked up, it was just a case at the time, right before it sold out on Pokemon Center at MSRP. So $143 a box. You could order 6 at the time and get a sealed case. And the case actually came in decent shape, not banged up too much. So pretty, not super minty case, but like decent case. And so I was really happy with that pickup. That was one I knew was going to perform well. I didn't think it would be at $500 quite yet, but happy to have that, taking that as a big win. And I think most of my other Lost Origin that I had gotten as well was from the Pokemon Center, mostly at MSRP. So this was an MSRP play at the time. I know, different world, hard to believe, that was the case. But that was the reality. So Lost Origin, definitely one of my best sealed performers. So Sword and Shield era, going to perform very well. But not all of it has been at MSRP. Now, Evolving Skies was one that you'll see behind me. Evolving Skies, late entry for me as far as the booster boxes go. I got in right here, right at the end of December, and I paid $1,000, and it was a little bit teensy bit over market what I had paid at the time for this particular box that is behind me. And you can see, obviously since then, you can pretty much kind of look at this chart and see it's more than this, but we've done well on Evolving Skies. This is another box that, even at this price point, even at $2,000, I think is a great buy. I understand it's very expensive. And not everyone's going to buy them at $2,000, but on a long-term time frame, I think Evolving Skies is just going to continue to climb and climb and climb. So Evolving Skies was a big pickup for me. And percentage-wise, obviously doing really good. We're pretty much at the double our money point. There definitely has been over $2,000 sales. Let's see, look more recently. You can see 2,000, 1,900, 1,800, 1,900. So yeah, sales have been a little up and down on it around that price range. Definitely some below and some over on eBay as well. But Evolving Skies, definitely not an MSRP play by any stretch. But yeah, it's just something where, like I said, even at this price, and I'm sure in the future, probably going to spend more money, higher prices on Evolving Skies than $1,000, right? At some point in time, and I'll be like, well, I should have just got more when it was at 1,000. But that's what we always do. We always look back and go, wow, back then we should have got more. Back then we should have got more. We do it all the time with every single product. And here's another example. This is, I think, percentage wise, might actually be the best percentage wise of stuff I picked up, which is Crown Zenith Elite Trainer boxes. And this one right here, you can see, so this is on the 1 year chart. These were $50 a year ago, and Crown Zenith, a set heavily printed. These were widely available. I believe it was last Black Friday. I think like Best Buy and a ton of other places had these on sale. I think like $40 in the 30s at some places. So I remember that's when I picked up most of my Crown Zenith ETBs. But that was just one that obviously just in the past year is up pretty big. And these are coming up to starting to near in around ish to that $200 mark for a regular ETB. Obviously, there's still a way to go. They're at 176, most recent sale at 182. So a ways to go on these. But Crown Zenith starting to look real good, starting to age real nicely. They printed it heavily for a long time, but it's just an example of how the strength of sealed and supply and demand, and obviously a good set, right? Because Crown Zenith is a top tier set that people will want to open for a long time to come. But this is just, as far as the sealed side goes, this was a easier pickup, no brainer for the long term hold. And then there's a few that kind of fall into a similar category. There's some Silver Tempest ETBs a year ago around the same time, and then some even further back. Look at this, a year ago, these were $33. Now, these still aren't that expensive, all things considered, considering what this set is, but they're currently around $80. And you were able to get these with TikTok Shop coupons. I think it was more than a year ago now. If you paired them right, and you got the TikTok Shop, I think it was like 40% off. If you got the right setup, you were able to get these for like $18-20 shipped. Not a ton, right? But I was doing that when I could. And obviously, we all wish we had the time machine to load back up on these at $33. Like I said, that's the common theme of just Pokemon in general. Be like, wow, wish we would have picked those up at that price. And that's just the truth. Or pretty much everything, right? That's a common theme. But Silver Tempest, ETBs and Lost Origin ETBs kind of in that same boat. These were a little bit more expensive. You can see back here in the 40s, below MSRP. Wild enough to say now. But like I said, the market was different. Things were different. And this was the same thing. I think some of these, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head if some of these were on sale for that Black Friday sale. I know Crown Zenith was. But this was another set that was some TikTok pickups with coupons as well. ETBs. The ETBs weren't expensive. There's a lot of these older ETBs that weren't expensive, and it'll just be something interesting to see how these age moving forward. Already being at over $100, but definitely reflects Silver Tempest. Not as strong of a set as Lost Origin, but these are just some other sealed product that has performed well. And then a newer set, while still a bit old, is Scarlet and Violet Base. Now, Scarlet and Violet Base, originally at its low, you can see on the 1 year chart, obviously well below MSRP a year ago. Right in here, I think it was, I'd have to double check. I think I have an eBay case that was picked up. Actually, it might have been right here, like late September. It was under $100 a box, around $95 a box for a case. And then there was a period of time before this where prices were even lower. And, there were some boxes that were picked up, I want to say in the $80 range that I had picked up, just because I liked the set. I didn't expect it to be the strongest performing set, but I thought it was just way too cheap at the time. So Scarlet and Violet Base is one that, has doubled for me over time. Obviously, once again, these are looking from the benefit of time. So that's, and a market move, right? So you do have to understand that a lot of this sealed stuff is really benefiting from that. But you can still be profitable now. It's just a lot harder to do and in smaller quantities, right? Because still percentage wise, like for some newer stuff like Prismatic Evolutions, which we've just gotten like additional drops of Pokemon Center ETBs, which are the product you want, to be clear, from a lot of these newer sets, is you can get the drops on Pokemon Center as long as you're on time when those drop. I've been able to hit pretty much all of them, actually. I can't remember which set I missed. Oh, I missed Destined Rivals, but then they did another drop, and I was able to secure just one lonely PC ETB. But if you get those are up massive. All of those are up massive percentage-wise. It's just not the quantity that you want. So as far as that goes, and like I said, Prismatic has had multiple PC ETB drops. So there is ways to like have really good numbers as far as modern sealed product as well. So those are I just wanted to share some of my success stories and kind of show some that were planned, some that weren't planned. And that is also just something that happens. Stuff just goes up over time. Stuff goes down over time. It really depends. But sealed product is one of those things where, obviously as far as like what I have, most of what I have is sealed. And I do obviously like slabs, as you can see behind me, and I do like just like master sets I'm working on and like raw copies as well. But most of what I have is sealed because it just tends to perform well. And then at some point I will offload some sealed and get into cards that I want or other stuff that I want more. But right now, like I said, a lot of my target is currently still sealed moving forward and currently not selling anything, holding for more long-term gains for pretty much on everything. For the most part, 5 to 10 plus years is the time frame, depending on the sets, depending on everything. But I just wanted to share a little bit of my positive experiences. And once again, this is the benefit of time, right? But that's just the reality. It might seem daunting now, but things will get better and you guys will have the benefit of time. But it is going to be a lot harder if you guys are chasing highs on stuff. As far as like, Destined Rivals, if you're buying booster boxes at $250, that box is going to have to go to $500 for you to double your money. So obviously not that that's not possible. That's probably going to happen at some point in time, but it just may take longer than you think. And prices, they should print that set more. There should be better entry points in the future as far as stuff like that goes. But yeah, so that was a little bit of the successes. And then if you guys want to see the failures, like I said, I don't know if I'll do that tomorrow or later this week. Worst case scenario next week. But let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. Yeah, as far as like stuff I have lost or am down on, happy to show that stuff as well. It's not like crazy drastic because I do tend to play it fairly conservative when it comes to a lot of my pickups. So there's not a ton I'm down on. There's definitely a ton I've lost money on, and we'll talk about that. But like current stuff, there's not really a ton, but there's definitely some stuff to share. And it's not like I haven't lost. Most of my losses, thousands and thousands, have been just from ripping packs, and we'll talk about that in that video as well. But that's all I have for this one. A little bit different. I thought it was fun and interesting just to kind of share some of my successes, and there's obviously more, but I was trying to focus on just like the bigger stuff. So hopefully that was a little helpful. And yeah, just some targeted, some not. It's just the benefit of having time in the hobby. So time in the hobby is very beneficial. But that's all I have for you guys in this one. I'll catch you in the next one. And remember, it was never a phase.